The Fleur de Lis Award is very close to my heart. It's the most remarkable program I think the law school has done in years. And the reason I say that is it really honors not only excellence in the profession, but also contributions to society and living the mission of the law school.
It is a tremendous class, the class of 2019, from international impact to impact in our own law school to impact locally. They are all givers, and you'll hear the fruits of what they have done more tonight.
To be recognized by your law school, for me at the end of a career, has really been quite humbling. I am shocked to this day at the opportunities that were available to me and to my classmates to explore a wide range of legal topics, of public interest topics, and all of those were made available to us here at St. Louis U Law School. I would have never dreamed that I would have had an opportunity to try cases all over the United States and eventually become an ambassador of the United States for President Obama.
Commissioner Anne Marie Clarke has done a terrific job as a commissioner in the city of St. Louis at the juvenile court. When the question is asked, who will take a chance? Anne Marie always says, I will. I will go always. And she has. Anne Marie started the first truancy court in the city of St. Louis. And it was a sea change for how children in the public schools were treated. Anne Marie Clarke truly represents the mission at St. Louis University, doing for others.
The thing that set Judge Philippine apart was how much he cared about doing the right thing and how careful he was, how respectful he was to attorneys. I remember as a young lawyer, when you'd be before Judge Philippine, he would treat you just like he would treat anybody else. And I think that was really a reflection of the sort of human being he is.
He was a marvelous assistant to Senator Tom Eagleton. As a United States District Judge, he was an ideal jurist to appear before. And most importantly, he's a keen Billiken basketball fan.
Judge Philippine, with his wisdom, is always right, never wrong. Affable, compassionate, firm, stern, but he represents all of the values that St. Louis University stands for.
When I first came to the law school in 1978, I kept hearing, you have to meet Sister Laura, you have to meet Sister Laura, and I was so glad I did. She is such a joyful person that it rubs off on you. She was for over 30 years the executive of a healthcare system, and if you think how healthcare has changed from 1985, she weathered a million storms. So her leadership of that system is remarkable. And I know she did it with joy in her heart, warmth, and strength.
Receiving this recognition is a tremendous honor. To be part of a group of very distinguished and accomplished individuals who have made a lot of impact in their own fields and in their careers and in their lives. I was fortunate to have gone here, and it has served me well throughout my entire life. Higher purpose, greater good, that's what St. Louis U Law is all about, and I was so very proud to be part of it. That was something that instilled in me a sense of a greater good. Kathleen Sherby was my legal research and writing instructor, and I learned a lot from her. I didn't realize how much of an impact that would have on my entire life, and how important it was to learn the research and writing component. She probably is not sure that she has that much of an impact at such a young age in law school, but it really did have a big impact on me.
Kathy's one of those lawyers that I'd like to be included in the same group with. It's more about earning your spurs than wearing them. And Kathy is a continuous student of the law and is very able in all respects.
I met Sally Barker in 1971, and I was wowed by her from the beginning. Sally is the go-to labor lawyer on the employee side in St. Louis. She just has such a deep respect for the dignity of workers and their rights. You're not going to have a mild conversation with Sally about unions. She is fearless, collaborative, and anybody who's had the really great privilege of being her associate has benefited by her wisdom and by her common sense.
Lenny Cervantes, yes, he and I were good friends. He was honored a few years ago by the Lawyers Association with their Award of Honor. That high level of professional recognition is for a guy who was so dedicated to the profession, to his clients. I mean, he tried cases regularly. He tried a lot of cases that other lawyers didn't particularly want to handle, but he had a real feeling for his clients, and he had a real feeling for this law school.
I first met Lenny when he was a freshman in law school at SLU. He was the same person then as he was the rest of his life. He was very kind, humble, friendly, and had this lovely smile that never left his face. No matter how far he rose in the profession, how successful he was, how well known he was always looking out for the people who had less. I always have thought so highly of him, and the fact that we would both be in the same recognition society is really just amazing, because it elevates, in my mind, all of us.
Jack has had a really outstanding career from the Justice Department to Freed Frank, and he wrote the book on False Claims Act, which is a big deal in healthcare. But his book has been cited by many courts and has been used to set policy. But I've always told my health law students that they should contact the SLU alumni. Jack, above all, mentored students, would come back and give talks in St. Louis. I can't overstate how important that is. He really illustrates that fabric of the community that this award honors.
Well, it's really an honor to be recognized by the place that I consider my professional home for the last 43 years, and that people where you're from honor you. It's very nice.
We would take probably an 8-hour course to review the accomplishments of Mike Wolff, but critical is his overriding sense of humor, keen intellectual ability to focus on the issues and represent both the law and the public service.
Dean Wolff, Judge Wolff, Michael Wolff, Professor Wolff. He was my civil procedure teacher, and that was what really inspired me to want to get in litigation, to be a trial lawyer, which is what I did for 20 years before I was mayor.
I've known Mike Wolff since 1978, so that's 40 years, and I am just astounded at the scope of what that man has accomplished, not only for the law school, but also for the state of Missouri, for the judiciary generally. He's had a million careers, right? His advice is always so realistic, down to earth, sophisticated, but communicated clearly.
He has a great sense of humor. He's very good with the clever quip. And so the newspapers go to him a lot. His views get out to the broader public. I'm always amazed to meet somebody with no connection to law at all. And they'll say, oh, I know a judge, Mike Wolff. They won't say Judge Wolff, they'll say Mike Wolff, because he's just that approachable, that accessible.
First thing that stood out to me about Mike was his sense of humor. One could always count on Mike or Jack Dunsford to turn a boring faculty meeting into something much more enjoyable. Because he's looked at law from so many different angles, he has insights that most of the rest of us will miss. His willingness to become dean at a very difficult time for the law school and restore our public image among the bar and alums, I think, was really a contribution that many of us had great appreciation for.